Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. My name is Kyle Smith. Today is March 3rd, 2020, and I am joined by two handsome devils. There's Kyle
Who?
West down there at the bottom.
It's not Adam or I. Who are you joined with?
You're right, it's not Adam or you. It's Kyle West and the other guy.
And you're saying we're devils, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I am nothing but angelic right here. Look at this. Just the light coming down on me.
Right now. You
The
practically
holy
have-
light of the holy light of the Purple People podcast.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. Whenever you stream this, whenever you just get this going, whoever jumps in, there's not a lot to talk about today. I spent like 5 minutes trying to come up with the title. We've got some draft stuff we're going to dive into. We're going to talk about Anthony Harris, and my favorite here, thanks to Kyle West, we're going to talk about some potential backup quarterbacks that could come to the team because sadly, we're probably going to see Sean Mannion leave, and I know that breaks everyone's heart.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. He could very well be quarterback number 2 again.
He could. Let's hope that's not the case. Let's dive right in. Right here, I talked about this today or last show. I heard about it today on a couple of podcasts. It was Vikings heavy today, so I guess it must have been meant to be a Purple People podcast kind of day. But Anthony Harris, Vikings safety, might potentially be moving on from the team. Rumored to earn more than $10 million per year in his next contract. Vikings are readying themselves for this departure. And I thought it was interesting. Mike Zimmer said something along the lines of whatever happens with Anthony and the money that he potentially makes, he deserves every penny of it. So it kind of sounded like just from his mouth alone that the Vikings are probably not going to be in the race for this.
Well, he did say at the combine that although he really respects Anthony Harris as a player, that he's not sure that he'll be able to keep him in Minnesota. And obviously the plans are that they'd love to have him stick around, but with the price tag he's going to command, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Even if they want to franchise tag him, his market value is higher than the franchise tag amount. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. I wrote about that in one of my articles about the Vikings free agents, and I was surprised to see what his approximate market value was, according to SpotRack.
Right. And this is one of those instances where I don't think it's fair to Anthony Harris to say you should take a team-friendly deal and stick around with the Vikings. Like, he has earned the right to have himself a big old contract extension here in free agency. So I wish it could be with the Vikings. Him and Harrison Smith are an excellent combination on the field together, but I just don't think that that's going to happen.
And I would not expect to see J-Ron Kerr stay in Minnesota for anything. If nothing, now he has more reason to get out. So
I didn't add it to the notes, but what happened with J-Ron Kerr, Adam?
Apparently it was he got a DUI and had a firearm on him.
Yeah, if you guys missed that, J-Ron Curse was going on a very small Twitter escapade, social media kind of thing about, hey, they don't want me. They made it evident, talking about the Vikings organization, and then proceeded to get himself into some trouble and really shoot himself in the foot. Not only the fact that we can all see these tweets, which means 31 other teams, but then got himself in trouble. So the secondary depth as a whole is going to be looking really thin this year. They're going to have to find some solution somewhere. I'm not sure where, but
if the Vikings lose Waynes, they lose McKenzie, they lose Harris, Curse leaves. There's some big holes there to fill, especially if they end up having to, or if they approach Rhodes with a new deal or a decreased contract, and he declines, and they end up cutting him. Oh man, this could be really bad.
Yeah, to Kyle's point again too. Shout out to Luke Braun. I was listening to Locked On. I think that's a pretty cool little Vikings podcast. And you can listen to I was listening to Access Vikings. You got Ben Gessling. He's been with the team for a long time today. We're talking about he's made around Anthony Harris around $5 million since he's joined the team because he's been playing for change pretty much.
Right.
He's undrafted.
Yeah, and he's
undrafted rookie.
28 years old now. He's going to be commanding $10 to $12 million a year, and he's right at the prime to get that money grab that he's going to go for because maybe he'll get that opportunity one more time, assuming that he keeps this high level of play up. But to get a three-year deal for like, $27 million or more, whatever it is, that's where he needs to get his money because
it's time for him to go get paid. I saw the same
right
kind of thing recently, posting about Dak Prescott.
Yep.
And yeah, Dak Prescott, sure, fans want him to take a team-friendly deal to stay in Dallas, but he's coming off his rookie deal, and he deserves to get a contract to solidify his future, the future of his family, and play somewhere where they appreciate him and are willing to pay him. As much as I would love for Anthony Harris to say, yeah, I'll play in Minnesota for $8 million instead of $14 million or $12 million somewhere else. You just can't expect a player to make that kind of a decision just to stay with a team. It's just not really done too often these days.
No, the Vikings are going to have to be looking towards the draft to plug in some holes here in the back end at the safety at the corner position. So we're going to need some rookies to step up for us again this coming season.
I absolutely expect the Vikings to get Andrew Sendejo back on a close to league minimum deal.
Yep.
Sendejo did a good job stepping in at nickel for what was asked of him. He played safety at a decent level too. He's a special teams player too now, and he does a lot of good work there. So yeah, I expect to see them try to keep Andrew Sendejo, but they also need to get some new young talent. So if they can't keep Harris, maybe they'll use a mid-round draft pick on him on the position. But otherwise, I don't see a position where there'll be that exclamation mark next to Harrison Smith like there has been the last couple seasons.
We hope to get him back. Everybody on the team. God, if you've watched this show for years now, I've been very high on Anthony Harris, and it's just you hate to see it go, but it's the situation that the Vikings are in. There's going to be a lot of shuffling. We've been telling you about that in recent weeks and episodes. So we'll see what happens. But let's say he does leave. Nobody on this show is going to have any ill will towards him. We wish him the absolute best.
Unless he goes to Green Bay.
Yeah. Then he can fuck off.
Yeah, right.
No, but seriously, he's such a nice guy, and I've liked him personally as a social media follow. But go get your money, man. You've earned it. You've played absolutely lights out the last 2 years. So good luck to him with and of course, if he leaves or ends up staying, we'll let you know on the show what happens with Anthony Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Moving right along, this is a good one. Darren Wolfson on who could replace Anthony Harris. Antoine Winfield could make sense in the second round, and I like that because I don't think he's a first-round pick. The consensus is that he's not the number 1 or 2 safety, but he should be picked up sometime on Friday.
I still 100% firmly believe that we'll see a defensive back in the first round. I believe it'll be a cornerback. And I know that there's a lot of talented corners in this draft, and they're going to go early. So Minnesota's going to need to scoop one up early if they want to draft and develop a corner. And then they can kind of have a Mike Hughes situation where he can hold on the position while they learn. And Mike Hughes, when he's on the field, he continually takes little steps forward. So there's still hope that he can emerge. Holton Hill has shown some flashes in the past. So hopefully he can continue to grow and develop too. Mm-hmm. But I think that first round is going to be a corner. And then after that, I know a lot of fans are clamoring for offensive line. And yeah, I would love to see an offensive lineman. But at that point, you really got to play the board.
How would this be? Imagine this scenario. Imagine they take Stefon Diggs' brother in the first round, and then Antoine Winfield Jr. on day 2 in the second round. I know that's
Thaddeus Moss in round 3.
That's very
not 3. No.
It's very slim chance of both of those happening. I think even if one of those guys lands, it'd be kind of crazy because
fans will love it.
Yeah, fans would go nuts. I don't think that it would, but I wanted to bring that point up because bringing up that Antoine Winfield Jr. is a top talent, but maybe not round 1. That's a good point. He had a good combine. He had a really good year this year. I did get to catch a couple of games with him in it, but it'll be interesting to see.
I agree with Adam's take. It does look like the Vikings need to go after a corner. in the first round. And then when you get back into the second, if Winfield Jr. is sitting there for the Vikings and he is one of the best players available on the board, that is also a good fit for the team because it does fill a position that the Vikings need to fill.
Now, round 2, even if your pick is approaching these on the board, I'd have no problem with sending a 5th round pick and your pick up to move up a spot or 2. At that point, you can kind of make those adjustments and get the guys you want. I don't like trading up in the first round because of the cost associated with it. But once you get past that first round, teams are a little more willing to move around. So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but the Vikings could end up with the targets they really want.
Well, here's another thing, too, and this is just all speculation, but we shared this. I sent this between the 3 of us in our chat last week. Trey Waynes posted some stuff on social media. This is a year of like social media and just all the nonsense that comes along with it. But Trey Waynes posted a photo on Instagram with Xavier Rhodes from one of the games this past year, and it says 2-9, where are we going? And he's hinting towards free agency because they're both potentially going to be leaving the team. So I'm with Adam and Kyle. I think this year's draft screams corner in the first round.
Absolutely.
Unless there's just at a different position, a steal. Like a couple of years ago, I'm not saying that we would find this caliber of player, but if it happens, go for it. Aaron Donald was picked way later than he should have. Looking back on it now, people probably would have picked him first overall, seeing how dominant he is. So unless you have just an absolutely dominant player at a different position, the Vikings are going to go corner. That's my guess.
This feels so weird, though, just after watching how many first-round picks the Vikings have used on cornerbacks, to see this being such a position of need. It just really screams as something not being right.
Yeah, like it hasn't quite clicked the way that the team would hope for them to, like you said, Adam, for them to just need this many, because we need more than one corner. Like it's not a matter of
didn't hit the undrafted free agent jackpot either with Holton Hill, because he's been a very talented corner.
Yeah,
Mackenzie Alexander in the second round has been very good.
Cat just ran across the background.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Andrew. Say no to nepotism unless it pays BPA. I like that comment a lot. I think they have to go with need. The league year starts March 18th, so it's in a couple of weeks. So we'll see. There's already been some trades involved today. I forget who was a corner from AJ Bouye from the Jaguars. He went to the Broncos, and they settled on a really cheap price, actually. But you'll see some stuff floating around. I know Everson Griffin, the talks right now are hopefully he's going to stay with the team for a cheaper deal. It's just going to depend on those moving pieces. So we'll keep you updated on that as well. But I like that, man. I wouldn't go for the fancy name. I would go for the talent and whatever the tape tells me is available to pick at 25. So going right along, I can't believe we got to throw that in there, the Instagram thing. I'm glad we remembered that. A fun stat of the day. This is good stuff from Kyle West. Dalvin Cook averaged 10.93 miles an hour when crossing the line of scrimmage with the ball in his hands. That's crazy. Can we do
I don't think I've ever ran
on the show? Can we do how far back did they line up from behind the line of scrimmage? How many yards? Like 4 or 5? 5 or 6?
It depends.
It depends. Yeah, usually about 8.
I was going to say Adrian was about 8 yards back.
We should Rich Eisen this. We should start 8 yards away.
Adrian used to start like 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
He liked a little bit more room to just get revving.
Just let's get a radar gun and do this like Rich Eisen style. Just see how fast Dalvin Cook really is compared to us.
I don't think I could run 10.93 miles per hour, like top speed, let alone to the line of scrimmage.
Dalvin Cook is in a weird situation where he's going to want an extension right now to guarantee that he sticks around with Minnesota and gets a good deal. There has been some concerns that he may hold out if he doesn't get a deal. But, of course, the Vikings fandom seems to be very split on whether a running back is worth a major investment. when it comes to the future of a franchise, whether other positions are more important in investing in. And it's a very logical argument going back and forth, because you don't want to lose a playmaker, but you also don't want to overinvest in a position where the value isn't there.
Or injury prone.
Right? Very much so.
Cook has got to stay healthy and on the field for the Vikings. It'll be interesting if he goes to hold out. I know he's really important to the offense, but if he wants to pull that card, if I'm Minnesota, okay, hold out. We'll find another running back. We'll committee this thing. Like, that's kind of how they
look good, and then they'll draft another running back. I mean, it's not like it's a position where there isn't an abundance of talent, and a lot of the teams that lock down running backs on major deals are thoroughly in buyer's remorse right now, because their salary cap is just getting hit so bad. Their running backs aren't contributing the way that they thought they would, and it's going to be a really bad situation for a lot of these teams that invested in running backs, and hitting the free agent market right now for a running back would be absolutely ridiculous, because there are some really talented running backs out there that are going to be looking for deals.
It's very true. It's going to be a crazy free agent year and moving around. A lot of moving parts this season.
There's a lot that could happen for Minnesota.
Yeah.
100%.
I just not Tom Brady. I don't see Tom Brady happening.
No.
It's the most Minnesota thing ever to do, is take a 42-year-old quarterback. It's not going to win us anything. That would be pretty crazy, though. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to see that.
Gurley, Miller, Zeke. Yeah, I think even in Arizona, David Johnson's talking about being moved, and it's just crazy.
Be interesting. I hope he doesn't.
Isn't Derrick Henry? Isn't he becoming a free agent too?
Derrick Henry?
I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah,
they'd lock him up. They wouldn't let him go, would they?
I highly doubt he's moving on from Tennessee, but I don't know. Wouldn't be the weirdest.
He is the Titans.
Happen.
He is the Titans offense. I don't think they can let him go.
This is my favorite one in the entire notes section for today. Kyle Westwright, ESPN's Todd McShay makes the least bold prediction in the history of the NFL draft. And he thinks that the Vikings will select Alabama cornerback Trayvon Diggs with the 25th overall slot, which is Stephon Diggs' brother. So I've watched this kid rise over the last 2 years only because Stephon Diggs always, gives his brother love and promotion on his social media. I do think that he is a first-round talent. I think he will be taken, but I don't know if he'll actually stick around that far. There's some cornerback needy teams before us, and we're picking 25th, so it's not like we're necessarily, in the front of the line to get a corner. So it'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing him there because we need a corner. But that seems like the go-to selection. I've seen this on other people's mock draft boards.
Yeah, it's the safe, easy pick.
You know what it is? There are 32 teams. I don't know what all 32 teams need. Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Diggs, Minnesota. There you go. That's an easy pin in.
It really is. And the fans will be like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We'd all love that, right?
You're not going to hate on it.
No, not at all.
Position of need. It's familiar to the team. Might make, Stephon Diggs a little happier. Who knows?
Or both of them are like, now we're both going to hold out.
Yep.
Now we really got you by the balls. No.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, here's a note today for Adam Carlson, because this is sad. Former Vikings offensive lineman Jeremiah Searles announced his retirement. He played for the Chargers, the Panthers, the Bills, and of course the Vikings. Congratulations!
He did. On Twitter, I sent him a message and said, congratulations on your career. Good luck on everything going forward. He didn't reply, but he liked it. So nice. I shared the picture of when I met him at a bar, and it was really cool that when I met him, he gave me some crap about the red hair, which is all right. But overall, I had a real good time meeting him, and he had a nice career. He did a really good job when he was here with the Minnesota Vikings, filling in several times. So, yeah, I mean, it's sad to see him go. I still kind of yearn for the days when the Vikings had Searles and Joe Berger and those guys on the interior of the offensive line that just made me so happy. But hopefully I can be a little bit happier about the interior of the offensive line after free agency and the draft.
Take me back to those days. I miss the old Berg.
And he gets to retire at only 28. That's pretty awesome.
It's true.
Yeah, the NFL, he got out too before the league did too much of a number on his body. He had some leg injuries over the course of his career, and I think that if he would have stuck in the league, he'd only seen that continually getting worse. So if he wants to have a enriching full retirement and be able to not have to be like Hulk Hogan and walk around with a crutch or with a what the walking stick, I don't. Yeah, I think it's got a walking stick, but yeah, sports can take a toll on your body. And he got out, I think, before too much damage was done. And
yeah, we're seeing a lot of players doing that, where they're choosing to have a shorter career instead of waiting for the NFL machine to completely chew and spit them out.
Right.
I do like the way players are putting their health first and foremost.
It's tempting to make as much money as you can as fast as you can. And I can completely understand that when someone's dangling millions of dollars in your face, kind of being like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
But at some point, if it's not worth it anymore and you're even starting to second guess it, it's time to be done.
I didn't know that he was on so many teams. I only remember the Bills and the Panthers. That's really cool, though. Congratulations on your retirement, man. We always liked him here at the Purple People podcast, so kudos to him. He's still very young, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
All right, main topic of the day. Who is going to be the Vikings backup quarterback this season?
Tom Brady is going to back up Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's set on. That's exactly what he had his sights set on.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to tell Julian Edelman.
Like they're
right.
talking about bringing in the Red Rifle over in Chicago to push Mitch Trubisky. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pay – forget the salary cap. We're just going to get rid of everyone so Tom Brady can come in and push Kirk Cousins. That's what – it's a good plan.
Right.
Do you think sense. Dalton could beat out Trubisky for a starting role?
I absolutely absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a big quarterback controversy to bring someone in to push. If you want to push, you bring in somebody who you think is a touch lower than the guy that you want to bring in. But yeah, I guess I have
we could go along this list right here, and we could see all these guys that Chicago could bring in because they're just below what Mitch Trubisky is.
Yeah.
Well, some of these guys are pretty bad, but
I came up with a list here. Well, I Googled someone else's article who came up with the list. And I excluded some guys like Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater, guys that they're going to be elsewhere. They're not coming to Minnesota to be a backup quarterback. So I tried to stick with ones that this maybe might make sense to come in and back up Kirk Cousins.
Trevor Siemian coming back.
Oh, God, no.
That could happen. Sean Mannion could stick around.
Please, God, no.
The last couple of years, the Vikings have gotten so lucky.
Right.
With that quarterback situation, not having to play these guys, but
there it is.
Who knows?
Pick up that phone right now and give Ponder a call. That's funny. Yeah, so going down the list here, we have Brett Hundley, used to be with the Packers. Kyle Allen had a decent year in Carolina. If I were them, I'd probably hold on to that kid. Chase Daniel, he's been very good stepping in for Trubisky.
Yeah, he wiped the floor with us.
Yeah.
And those are usually the kind of guys that the Vikings will raise their eyebrow at a little bit and want to check out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when they did that with Jerome Simpson? Jerome Simpson comes in, burns the Vikings. The Vikings are like, we got to have that guy, and they go get him.
Bernard Berrien.
Yep.
Had to have that Bernard Berrien. He did fine for Minnesota, but whatever.
He wasn't too bad.
No, he got a lot of unnecessary hate, I thought.
Drew Stanton, I think he was there with the Cardinals for a while. AJ McCarron, Chad Henne, he's been around a while, like the veteran presence. Matt Moore as well. He beat the Vikings last year with the Chiefs. Here's an interesting name. Former number 3 overall pick, Blake Bortles. Huh. I wouldn't hate that. Wouldn't hate it. Mike Glennon, formerly
I can't hear the name Blake Bortles without thinking of that show, The Good Place. It's if you don't watch it, it's real cool. They got one of the guys on that show is a Jacksonville Jaguars fan when he gets up to heaven, and everything is about Blake Bortles and the Jags, and he's playing Madden, playing with the Jaguars. Oh, it's so much fun.
It's kind of awesome.
Nathan Peterman, the GOAT. Yes, please. Oh, God. Blaine Gabbert's still playing. Wow. I didn't know that. Blaine Gabbert, Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, and Geno Smith.
And the Jaguars are trying to move on from another quarterback, too, and now they're trying to trade Foles, is what I'm hearing.
Wouldn't that be just a thing? Bring in the guy who wiped the floor with the Vikings to win Philadelphia's Super Bowl.
To be our backup.
We can't afford that guy anyway, so that wouldn't be a thing. But who can we stay away from on this list? I don't want to get Peterman. I just don't want to see that happen at all.
You don't want Peterman. You don't want A.J. McCarron.
A.J. McCarron's really bad. Brett Hundley looked terrible when he played against us 2 years ago. God.
I'd actually be okay with Hundley. For the right price. If he was one of the lower end price of the free agent quarterbacks, sure.
Mike Glennon, I don't know. Would it hurt? That's kind of what you're thinking with this backup here. It's like, well, you got Kirk Cousins, so how much would it hurt to have someone like Mike Glennon as the backup quarterback? Probably
hasn't missed a game because of injury in 5 seasons now, right?
Yeah,
the last 5 seasons. The only game he missed was that Bears game, and that was because he sat out.
Right.
I want to like youth in this kind of situation, but I think veteran experience is probably going to trump all of that. Of course, having Case Keenum back, the Vikings fan base would absolutely love that. He's got familiarity with the team, even though the scheme has changed. A guy like Chad Henne or Matt Moore would be awesome. Chase Daniel would be a great addition. I like Kyle Allen. He started for the Panthers last year when Cam Newton went down, but
he had a nice streak of games too.
Adam's point there is, what's the price going to be for one of these guys? Because usually backups warrant at least what, $4 or $5 million.
Yeah, you got to throw a couple mil at him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't know.
And I don't know if you could really trust drafting a pick and just sitting him there and having that behind Kirk if it's not like an early pick.
And that is not history tells us that is not something that the Vikings are going to do with Zimmer as the head coach. They're not going to take a rookie and plug him in at the number 2 quarterback position.
No,
like they will take someone like a Sean Mannion who's got experience in the league over top of a rookie at that position.
He held if it's a clipboard in a Super Bowl.
Even if it's bad experience, that's what the Vikings are going to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't want to see Simeon or Mannion back. After seeing the one game of Sean Mannion last year, or was it week 17? No, just all the no's back to back together. Good without that guy. Trevor Simeon stepped in for the Jets last year for one game and got hurt, which was really concerning. So, I mean, it was the Jets. They're pretty bad, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. What if they just wait the entire time and pick a quarterback up in the draft? That's also another thing to keep. They have Jake Browning. They had on the practice squad, so they've got options. They're not necessarily the sexiest picks, but we'll see where they go forward. I think the veteran experience would be great. I would love to see Case Keenum wind up back with the Vikings, or like a guy like Chase Daniel, like we were talking about, because even though they were with a different team and in a different system last year, Matt Moore and Chase Daniel beat us last year.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting the Vikings number 2 quarterback to be a veteran. They're going to go out in free agency. They're going to sign someone, and they're going to sign someone who they think they got a good deal on, someone that they think can step in and play a game or two if needed. But again, I think this is going to be another short-sighted season where the Vikings go in and they say, okay, well, Kirk will be fine.
You kind of convinced me on Chase Daniel. The more we start talking about it, Adam, I can almost see the Vikings spending more money than they should for a backup quarterback because he beat us really badly.
And there's a couple of them on the list.
Doesn't that kind of seem like something Minnesota would do?
It absolutely seems like something Minnesota would do.
Yeah, it does, don't it?
The chat as well. Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah. T-Jack, but he went on to be on a Super Bowl winning team, and Joe Webb, who threw the ball sometimes.
Isn't he with the Texans? Didn't he play with Houston?
He jumped around the league for a little bit. He was in Carolina, I think, for a bit, and
he's in Buffalo, right?
He's so athletic, it's hard just to say no to him, but try to find a spot for him.
Joe Webb is one of those guys that ought to be playing in the XFL.
It's true.
Just go out there and just make plays for some squad. He'd look like a stud.
I've seen some of those quarterbacks in the XFL. He could play there.
Oof. Yeah, he definitely could.
But yeah, I am still enjoying the XFL, and I do think that the quarterbacks that they have aren't pulling too much from the NFL pool. But I also think that a lot of quarterbacks are hoping to latch on to a job in the NFL, and that's why they're not signing with the XFL. The ones that still have their hopes and dreams of playing in the big leagues. But part of me does want Nathan Peterman on the Vikings just for the fun of it.
Oh my God!
Would you buy a Nathan Peterman Vikings jersey?
Knockoff jersey,
price.
Sure.
For the right price.
An authentic jersey, no thanks.
Authentic, stitched, $200 from NFL Shop. Peterman.
Hard pass on that one.
Since we're talking quarterbacks, I wanted to ask you guys too. What do you think Tom Brady's going to do?
I think he's just going to use this leverage to sign back with the Patriots on a deal close to what his market value is, but not quite.
Yeah.
I don't see him going anywhere.
I think it's all a ploy. I'm with Adam 100%. Hanging out with Julian Edelman. They're FaceTiming with Mike Vrabel recently at a North Carolina Syracuse basketball game. I've seen this before, man. The guy's just driving up his value, toying with people. He wants to be flirted with, but he doesn't want to cheat. That's what it is.
I like that.
He wants to go to the bar all dressed up and catch some eyes and then go home to his wife.
His wife, Bill Belichick.
Yeah. If that hasn't been like a marriage, I don't know what is. Good Lord.
Right. Now, I see a lot of the sports media talking about how, he needs to go to Los Angeles with the Chargers because, it'll make so much sense. You can put his name on billboards. Tom Brady is, a 6-time Super Bowl winning champion. He's married to a supermodel. Do you think
they don't have billboards in Boston?
Do you think he cares about being on billboards? I don't really understand how that would be appealing.
Do people realize how big the fan area is for New England?
Yeah,
that's like a lot of states over there.
Yeah, it's
that
huge.
The New England Patriots represent.
I can tell you from firsthand experience in recent parts of life, it's disgusting how big that range is. It's almost
even Patriot country goes into New York.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
It definitely does. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think it's just going to take one to fall to see where it is because obviously teams like the Colts, the Chargers, even teams like Tampa Bay, like that. Teams that can move on from the quarterbacks that they have, or teams that we know are desperate for quarterbacks, they're going to look for a Phillip Rivers or a Tom Brady, a big name to sign. And once Tom has gone, the dominoes can fall where they may, but I think there might be some that are already locked in. With tampering, they can't do it. I know Bruce Arians from Tampa Bay said he would love to have Tom Brady, said it out loud on a couple of platforms. Then he also said Phillip Rivers is another guy. And I'm thinking Phillip Rivers is Jameis Winston right now. I don't know why you would. I would just keep Jameis Winston and keep the younger, more athletic version of him. But It's going to be crazy. There's going to be so much movement this offseason, but we've still got about 2 weeks until that starts. So,
I don't know if Brady on the Colts would automatically make that Colts team a Super Bowl favorite, but it'd be close.
Yeah, they've got a great offensive
It'd be
line.
fun.
That's the first thing you got to have. And they have a ton of cap room, if I remember correctly. So they could go get a couple of studs and draft really good, and they're right in it. He's going to go to the Colts, pull out, go back in the last minute. I see what you did there. The old Josh McDaniel. Oof.
And yeah, as much as I love Teddy and would love for him to come back to Minnesota, he's priced well out of Minnesota's range.
We're with you, Andrew. We want that to happen, but Adam just mentioned it. The price tag is not in our favor right now with the cap situation. And I think Teddy could start somewhere.
I was just going to say, Teddy has earned the right to go somewhere where he can be in more of an open competition. Minnesota is Kirk Cousins is our quarterback. There is no competition.
Right.
It's like, and Teddy has earned the right to compete for a starting spot somewhere.
Very true.
These are all going to be disasters. Well, certainly hope so for every other team. Certainly hope so for every other team. I hope the Vikings figure it out.
There are some names on there that I wouldn't mind too much, but overall, yeah, when you're discount shopping for free agent quarterbacks, it's going to be rough.
Right.
Well, to round out this conversation, and I guess the show, going back to Kirk Cousins, the talk of the town right now is they're going to wait on an extension probably till after the draft. I think that makes sense.
I'm okay with that.
They're going to save money.
I don't like it.
They're going to save money, but yeah, that's a word on the street right now is they're going to wait till at least the draft has gone by before they work on an extension. I don't think he's going to hold out either way. I do think this is the same kind of thing that would drive him out of town because this is what happened in Washington, although we didn't drag him along as Washington did. Because all he's going to do is look to you and say, hey, I won you a playoff game and I've helped you, be a double-digit win team here recently, blah, blah, blah. So he's got a little bit of leverage.
Yeah, but he also could do his team a lot of favors and not lose any of his guaranteed money by signing an extension before this season, actually like really soon, to be able to free up some cap and allow Minnesota to make some moves and sign the players that they want to keep around and keep the team even more competitive. And I don't understand the appeal in waiting. What's the benefit in waiting till after the draft just to see how things shake out and hope that there's players you want left? That's a little too idealistic for me, and I don't like to gamble.
Right.
I kind of understand the logic of both. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I could see the Vikings going both ways. I could see them moving on because they essentially say, hey, you were good, but not great. We're going to move on from you. I could see him being locked up for another 3 years after this 3-year period is up because who are you going to get that's better? That's always the thing that we talk about on the show. So if I had to take a guess, I would say that they're going to lock him up and he'll be the franchise quarterback for this team for a couple more years after this season. That's my gut feel.
The nice thing is that I don't think Minnesota will have to pour in close to the elite level quarterback money to keep him here. I think that they'll be able to keep him around for the 28 to 30 and not have to go up into the 31 to 35 I really do believe that some quarterback is going to make close to 37, 38 this year.
Yep.
I won't even doubt 40.
All they've got to do, really, I mean, if we're talking about it just as a baseline, they just need to guarantee him another contract, and I think he would stay.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed money again. I think he's going to be cool with that because I don't blame him either for all the crap he had to put up with that awful Washington team, and then playing games with him in the franchise tag. Like, hey, dude, we're committed to you. There's no question about it. You go do your thing. We'll build the pieces. I think he really likes that. And I think that at the time when everybody lost their mind about that deal, looking back on it now, in just 2 seasons, how much the market and the price has risen up, I think that was a great move by the Vikings.
And the Vikings are already saying that they believe Kirk Cousins is not only in the prime of his career, but that he just entered it. and that they feel this window is wide open for him. So I would be very surprised to see the franchise make the decision to move on and look for someone else to replace him, because I think they do firmly believe that what they have in Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that can take them to the promised land. So that's what I'm hoping.
That makes all three of us here. We're rooting for old Captain Caucasian here at the Purple People Podcast.
He's got to get some new sponsors, though. We got to work to get him some new endorsements.
I want him to have the cheesiest endorsements possible, because that's who he is, and I'm all for it.
He's got the Cheesecake Factory. Boom. That's what he should have.
That's fair. I think that's about it for the show, though. We'll keep you updated. Like I said,
not much going on right now in the land of the Vikings, but we had talked about this when we were talking about the what's going to be coming up for Minnesota. That just with their salary cap reasons and being so tight right now, that there's going to be not a lot of news going on, because the Vikings they don't really have the ability to go out and we're not going to make a big splash in free agency. I think the draft is going to be disappointing for people who want Stephon Diggs' brother. They want Antoine Winfield Jr., and we're going to grab an Anthony Barr, and everyone's going to go, who the hell is that? Like when we drafted Anthony Barr. And it's going to feel disappointing, but we're going to be all right. This team is going to be okay.
The thing with this Viking situation right now is once the first domino falls,
yes,
and we see some free agent money open up, I think then we're going to see a bunch of moves. Just boom, 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 and then we'll be back to the same situation. So, yeah, once that falls and we start seeing what's going on, we'll be able to see a little bit better what the team's plan was moving forward, because I've got to admit right now, for hearing almost absolutely nothing and seeing not a lot of deals being made for players, I'm kind of wondering what the plan is moving forward, because right now it does seem like the Vikings are still focusing on rounding out the coaching staff, because they just signed a college coach to come in and be a defensive backs assistant. So it feels like they're still kind of getting a feel for what's going on there.
So you're saying the Vikings draft board is a big question mark?
I'm not going to say that, because the Viking scouts have been working pretty hard, and under the GM that they have, and with George Payton kind of helping out with all that stuff over there, the Vikings do a thorough job on scouting players. The problem is that I'm still not sure whether they have the personnel to nail an early round quarterback or an early round wide receiver, or these players that the Vikings have been struggling to draft early in those positions. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure that they can find a really nice defensive end to mold into a superstar in the 4th or 5th round. I've got faith in that.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, otherwise, I'm not sure about the Vikings being able to hit some gold in the first couple of rounds. So hopefully they kind of play it a little safer.
Adam, you took the words out of my mouth earlier. It's going to depend on who decides to leave, who the first confirmed player is. It's like, hey, we're letting them hit free agency, and they sign, immediately. It's gonna have to dictate where they go, because that's what's going to determine the roster essentially. So we'll keep you updated here. You guys know that there's not a lot going on. 2 weeks from tomorrow is the official start of the league year, March 18th. It's on a Wednesday, and hopefully it'll be like a crazy. I wish that the start of the new league year was like deadline day for trades, where all these people just keep rushing in to do stuff.
Yeah,
but that's just the day it officially starts, and tampering is not a thing. So if anything happens,
it's already not a thing.
not the NFL. It's not. The NBA takes it seriously, but the NFL doesn't.
Does not. You tamper as much as you want.
And NFL Network all have their NFL free agency specials, and right as the deadline hits, there'll be a bunch of people sitting around a desk reporting the news that we've already heard and trying to do breaking news that if you were on Twitter, you've heard 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, free agency isn't quite the spectacle it probably could be if the internet wasn't around and we were just watching ESPN or
If they
NFL
could
Network.
find a way to make money off of it, it'd be a lot funner and it'd be a lot more crazy than it is. But until they do that, it's going to be kind of boring.
Yeah, not a lot of thrills going on. But I do want to, before we go, I'm going to plug the Viking Age because I really enjoy everything over there. I haven't written over there in a little while because I've been focusing over on the zombie aspect of things with season 10 of The Walking Dead going on. I've been doing a lot of work over on Undead Walking, and I'm enjoying my work over there. And the fandom's kind of struggling a little bit right now because fans are kind of at each other's throats over who they want to end up with who. It's like the Twilight situation. Everyone's fighting. Oh, she should be with Edward. She should be with whoever the wolf guy was. I don't remember his name. But yeah, it's that kind of situation. Sadly, the fans are not happy with each other over it. So hopefully that'll clean up a little bit and we can get a little bit more excitement over on the Vikings end of things. And we can have a little bit more fun over on the Viking Age and Undead Walking. And you can check out both those by just downloading the apps, or you can go to the websites themselves. Both are pretty good. I like them.
Sorry, I had to tell Andrew. This is our next show title for our next episode.
As long as you could say schmampering.
Schmampering.
I like it. It's solid.
Awesome.
Kyle West does art.
I do occasionally do art over at phantasmdigital.com, or you can find it over on the Purple People Podcast, the Facebook page. If you want our logo on a coffee cup or a cell phone charger or any other thing that you would like to own, you can do that.
You can buy a towel for your bathroom and you can rub your butt with our logo.
You can be like, this podcast is shit.
I thought that was going somewhere completely different.
Nope. I'm keeping it PG, not even going into PG-13.
I feel like we've heard this before on the show, but like you can order anything and get any picture on whatever. We get like a Hulk Hogan shower curtain, just something ridiculous.
You can. I've sold that. You can get that.
I didn't hear that here. So you can do that on this right here. And if you go to our Facebook page, guys, you know what? I'm going to interrupt my own self here. You know what I love about this trio that we have going on? We don't do that typical crap that I see. And this is my little rant for the day. Everybody's new thing now is blah, blah, blah in the beginning. Hit that like button, blah, 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 subscribe. We pester you guys at the very end of the show. We don't bombard you in the middle because we want you to watch. So
yeah.
If you've stuck around, because I see 5 people are still in right now, thank you for letting us babble on. But Phantasm Digital, if you go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Purple People Podcast, you can buy podcast merch. You can get shirts, hoodies, sweaters like this. Pretty cool. There's a variety of colors and styles. Yeah.
Has our Survival League winner been mailed out their prize, or are you still getting that together?
I'm still working on that.
All right.
This week, so I won't be back, but I promise it is already ordered and purchased. It's at my house, so we will get.
So there will be at least 2 Purple People Podcast shirts out there.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered a bunch actually: a long sleeve, a hoodie, a short sleeve.
Boom.
Guess I'm stuck with you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Until they take this program away from us too, and we got to find something else. And if there's nothing, then we're running. Because I can't imagine doing this without the live commentary of the people in the chat, and I'm never going back to pre-recorded, just the 3 of us.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Hard pass on that. But hey, I do want to thank everyone who showed up in the chat, everyone who interacts with us on social media. I know that Mr. Smith and Mr. West have been doing a pretty good job of trying to keep up over on the Facebook, posting some stuff that might be interesting to you.
It's debatable.
I've seen some stuff go up. So I know you're thinking about it once in a while.
Taking 0 credit for that. That's all.
I try, but I don't Facebook too often, so you know.
But since it's the off season for the NFL, I mean, the Purple People Podcast still doesn't have an off season, so we'll be back again next week to talk about more Minnesota Vikings stuff that probably isn't too exciting, but we'll be talking about it. Maybe making up some other stuff. I don't know.
We're gonna make up news.
Absolutely.
There it is right there. That's what we're here for. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Hey, that picture looks like it's from US Bank Stadium. Sweet.
It sure does.
Cool. He's doing the skull chant. That's dope, man.
I love it. Good stuff. On that note, I do want to thank everyone again for joining us. I know that it's corny, but if you can, liking, sharing, subscribing, it's all good stuff. We appreciate all that. And if there's one person you like more than others, comment down there, say, hey, I love that other guy. He's really handsome. And be like, all right, I'll give that a like. So yeah, interact with us and we'll have some fun. All right, thanks again to everyone. Remember to stay classy, Minnesota.